Good morning, friends. Today we are discussing the article relating to freedom of speech. Due to the pandemic COVID-19, so in social media, lot of fake news is galloping. It is galloping like horses. So, in order to control the so-called fake news, the center filed a petition before the Supreme Court to give orders to curb the fake news menace. Of course, at the time, even the Director General of WHO, Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus, he also stated that the infodemic is more dangerous than the pandemic because of the effect it has got. So if somebody says so many people are dying there, lakhs of people are dying there, all these things he has clearly stated. So they have to curb the so-called infodemic. You might have understood the word. Infodemic means nothing but passing of information, fake news, right? So support their allegation, the central government has shown the video. Of course, it's a fake video. Anyway, it's a video depicting an Indian self-styled epidemiologist saying that he is working with Johns Hopkins University and also Princeton University, and he has stated that his research disclosed that if the epidemic spreads in India, about 30 to 40 crores of people will die. Definitely, it has sent definitely shock waves among the social media, and it has just like a galloping, it has been circulated. But after the chatbot, then it is very clear that it is only fake news, and the logos used by the so-called gentleman with Johns Hopkins University and Princeton University, they are also fake. So at this juncture, the Supreme Court said that they are not going to curb the freedom of speech. So there should be some dissent, there should be some exchange of ideas. So after all, democracy is the humans should express their ideas freely and frankly. Of course, Article 19(1)(a) gives you the freedom of speech and expression. At the same time, Article 19(2) gives the reasonable restrictions or test of reasonableness. All these things are there. So therefore, we don't want to curb the freedom of the press. We don't want to curb the freedom of the social media. Let them, of course, declare or opine freely and frankly. But of course, misinformation has to be curbed. Definitely, the misinformation has to be shut down. You know, you have got the you have got your own ways and means. You have got the statutes also. They represented. The Supreme Court held. Of course, Supreme Court also suggested them. The Disaster Management Act, Section 54, it comes in the way if anybody publishes the fake news. For that, on April 2nd, the Supreme Court gave a direction to the center. The center should publish the information, reliable information on a portal on day-to-day basis regarding number of patients, number of deaths, number of inmates, number of joined recently, all these things. If you give all the details, definitely people will be happy and they will not go towards the so-called fake news. Right from that date onwards, the government of India is giving COVID-19, even in social media also, it is giving all the details. Now, as regards the freedom of speech, now we are going to discuss. So as regards the freedom of speech, there is a very popular and celebrated as well as a famous case law come from United States of America. Of course, we all know that the so-called Bill of Rights or fundamental rights, they are borrowed from USA. So therefore, there is a very famous case law. Let us discuss. We will be citing the case laws, but most of you do not know the contents or brief facts of the case. Therefore, I am dealing with a particular case. This is a famous case called as Brandenburg versus Ohio, 1969. Of course, it happened in the year 1964. So Brandenburg versus Ohio, right? So if we go into the details of the case, what transpired is Mr. Clarence Brandenburg, he is a leader of KKK, Ku Klux Klan. So KKK there is a clan, otherwise they call it is a separate entity. They belong to certain that clan. Of course, they think they are the original Americans, and they have got a grudge against the United States government as well as the Supreme Court as well as the Congress, all these things, that they are supporting the so-called African Americans. In their words, they call them as niggers, which we should not use. And also they are telling that Jews are being pampered by Jews and white people. White people, please remember, they are from Europe. These people are being pampered by the American country, American government, but not the original race. That is their grievance anyway. This man, Clarence, being the president of the Ku Klux Klan, he invited a Cincinnati television reporter to attend the rally. The rally was held in a city, in a county actually. It's not a city, it's a county called as Hamilton County. So this man took a rally in Hamilton County. Of course, the members numbering about 2,000 or so, they are armed with firearms. They carried firearms and they carried lethal weapons. They took a rally. At the end of rally, this man addressed all of them and said that the government is only concentrating on the so-called African Americans, the civil liberties, all these things are there. Government is in support of them. They are supporting the Caucasian race and they are supporting the white people, but not the original people. And therefore, definitely, we have to take an hesitative mode, an hesitative reaction against the USA, and let us march to Washington on July 4th. On 1964, he has given a vociferous speech. He has leveled so many allegations of the government of USA, and not only government, Supreme Court, Congress party, all these things. He vociferously commented, and therefore the Ohio State, they have got a law. They have got a statute. Of course, in USA, you may be knowing, it is a federal government. The states will have their own laws, and of course they have to abide by the central laws only. Anyway, there is a statute called as Ohio's state syndicalism. So if anybody forms as a syndicate, if they want vindicate anything against the government, if any speech which is against the government, they are liable under the statute. Therefore, they booked a case against the Brandenburg, and of course, even though he said he has got a freedom of speech, he related to the First Amendment to the Constitution of USA, still the state the court did not agree, and he was given punishment. The punishment is from 1 to 10 years and $1,000 fine. So aggrieved by the decision, he approached the First Court of Appeal, but First Court of Appeals also confirmed the decision of the Ohio court. Ultimately, the matter came to the United States Supreme Court. Now, the Supreme Court of United States, they reversed the decision of the lower court. Here, they have actually this is a very good phenomena or test of reasonability, 19 clause 2. Like that, this is called the principle of immediate lawlessness action. So the Supreme Court held that if the vociferous speech, or if the hesitative speech, or if the provocative speech leads to immediate lawless action, then it is liable for punishment. Or if there is any incitement for the immediate lawless action, definitely the person is liable. But here what he said, yes, no doubt, definitely there is a dissent. It is a marketplace of ideas. There should be some dissent. The people should talk. The people should express their opinions. Yesterday also, while discussing the UN that is sending the human rights disaster, also I told you that the United Nations HRC, they have clearly stated that the fundamental right of freedom of speech should be protected. No doubt, you should shut down or you should shun the so-called misinformation. At the same time, you should not suppress the correct information. That means free flow of ideas should be there. So the person should be able to communicate and they can express their ideas. That is the beauty of democracy. Yes, otherwise if you don't dissent, if you don't say anything, so the party in power, they think that whatever they are doing is 100% correct and they may be going to take a wrong step also. Right? So here the court held that, in the lower court, one of the speeches made reference to the possibility of revengeance, possibility of taking revenge against the Jews and niggers. So I need not repeat those words. And also those who supported them. Therefore, they of course they fined so-called 1,000 rupees, and so since he advocated the so-called uprooting of the government elected legally or democratically elected government, right? The Supreme Court framed the so-called principle. So the principle is immediate lawlessness test. So if the seditious speech, normally they file the case under sedition, so to provoke people to go against the lawfully elected government, 124A of the IPC in India. So imminent lawless action, if it is there, definitely he can be held liable. But if he incited under 1 or 2 days after, if there is a so-called lawless action, therefore then also he is liable. But here he has given a call for the rally to Washington. What is going to happen? Nothing happened. Nothing happened. Even for 2 years also nothing happened. Therefore, he cannot be, the freedom of speech should be respected and he cannot be held liable for this thing. So, please remember the immediate lawlessness test. So, this test should have 3 principles. Number 1, intent to speak. So, what is the intention behind speaking? Normally, the people, while delivering speeches, while arguing the matters, or while when they are given the mic, normally they will be speaking in that flow. Even though they do not have an intention against, they may speak something. So the intention is more necessary. Whether the fellow has got intention to speak such words or not. Number 2, imminence of lawlessness. By the speech, immediately, if there is any reaction from the public gathered there, just like Mudragada Padmanabhan, he gave a provocative speech and he took all the people to Tuni railway station, as a result of which, of course, some lawlessness activity took place. It's a different, anyway, just for example, I am telling you. Like that. Likelihood of lawlessness, no doubt, imminent lawlessness may not be there, but if 1 or 2 days, if there is any likelihood of lawlessness, then also it is punishable. So, basing on this, they have reversed the decision of the court, first court of appeal. So, this is a famous case law. Right? This is followed even by our Supreme Court in 2 famous cases. One, Aryan Bhuyan. He is Arup Bhuyan versus Union of India. So since he belongs to that Ulfa, that Assam cadre, and since he has given calls for rally, since he is a member of that Ulfa, he was taken to task, and 2 points were there, whether being a member of the Ulfa, it will lead to Tada Act. At that time, section 15 of the Tada Act gives power to Superintendent of Police to record the confession, but basically Justice Markandeya Kadju stated that section 25 of the Evidence Act says whatever confession is given before the police, it is irrelevant. Therefore, conflict of law ultimately decided there should be a freedom of speech. So, the case held. Second point, Shreya Singhal versus Union of India 2015. So you may be knowing the case time and again. Whenever the IT Act section 66A, whoever propagates, whoever sends any offensive or menacing character mails or messages or electronic communication, he is liable for punishment. Originally this was not there. Section 66A was amended in 2008. Of course, the bench of Supreme Court Judge bench of Justice Chalameshwar and Rohinton Nariman held the section itself as unconstitutional. So I want to tell you a few brief facts. So during the death, because of the death of Bala Saheb Bal Thackeray, then the entire city went to mourning, and 2 days hartal was given. And one of the students, she belongs to just 10th class only, a girl student, she has noted in the Facebook or some social media stating that why they are holding the activities of the other people to a standstill. If they got so much of respect for him, let them go to his cemetery or to his funeral ceremony and or to his house, and let them mourn for whatever time they like. But why should they make the life of others come to a standstill? This is ridiculous, all things he has written, but it was forwarded by her friend, basing on which the cadre, of course, at the time Maharashtra government was being run by the so-called Thackeray government. Ultimately, they took it very seriously, and the government, the state took it that they are propagating so much of offensive messages. They were arrested, of course, they were released on bail, but a public spirited person, Shreya Singhal, who was a journalist, she raised the matter, she took the matter before the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court stated, yes, this is unconstitutional. There should be freedom of speech. Freedom of speech should not be curtailed. Of course, reasonable restrictions are there, but the test of reasonability, the test of proportionality, the test of market of ideas, all these things should be taken into consideration, and therefore that case was also, of course, it was struck off as unconstitutional, Section 66A. But please remember, Section 66A is still not deleted or not deleted from the IT Act. Of course, in the Uttar Pradesh, 150 cases were registered. Now about 4 or 5 months back, Supreme Court gave a warning to the police officers. When we held it unconstitutional, even though it is not deleted, you should not book cases. Do you want to come to the court and be accused in such cases? The Supreme Court has given a stern warning. Anyway, this is regarding Brandenburg versus Ohio. Very important, very famous case. Thank you.